Folks, and welcome back to another episode of your Brains Coach podcast. My name is Shurina. I'm your host, I'm your Brains Coach, and it is my job here to bring to you all the recent, best, cutting-edge brain body tools from different branches of scientists, from neuroscience, that also has a lot of branches, to different health, behavioral sciences, to psychology and health sciences, all these tools so you could make better decisions, you can operate your brain at a much higher level, and you could get after goals that matter to you and achieve them. I heard someone saying yesterday on social media that more than 95, I believe he said, % of people never reach their goals. And folks, being an entrepreneur has definitely taught me one thing. Goal achieving isn't that easy, especially if you're going after goals where you don't control a lot of things. But if you learn how to control what you do much better, your emotional regulation, your decision making, your consistency of taking action, you'd be surprised how much you can actually achieve if you take a longer term perspective and view. Somebody famous said, people overestimate what they can do in a year and so underestimate what they can do in 10 years. What it basically means, if you start doing something consistently, even in the most unpredictable environment that we're all living in, over the course of many months and years, depending on your goal, you can actually get amazing results and get much, much closer towards the goal you have. That's why when I say I'm going to become a millionaire, first millionaire in my family, I have no doubt I will, because I will keep putting in action and learning from people who already did it, like Alex Hormozi, who provide actual education that they got from literally a decade of their life. If I'm going to apply that, and I'm going to apply that consistently, yes, I may not achieve everything I want exactly as I wanted on the time frame that I plan, what I want to achieve in a month or a couple of months. That might not be exactly according to the plan. But the main trajectory, if I keep putting in the action, actually will get exactly where I want to go. Just again, I will have to adjust. Time frames might be a little bit off or sometimes a lot off, but you're still going to get there. It's like Elon Musk, when he was 12, 13, he decided he's going to help to solve energy crisis and make humans multiplanetary species so we don't die on Earth. And even though a lot of the timelines, and I'm sure a lot of plans he had didn't exactly work out, but the trajectory is there. He is one of the few people who actually making a huge dent on this mission. And he's been committed to his vision for how many years? 40 years, right? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm now 36. Alex Hormozi made his fortune as he has it now from basically 0 in 10 years. So over the weekend, I actually watched his birthday presentation where he launched his new book. By the way, if you're an entrepreneur and your problem is lead generation, like it is for me and for a lot of entrepreneurs I know, please do check out his website, acquisition.com/leads. He actually has a free training, and then you can get a free audiobook accompanying this training on his podcast. And his book is also, I believe, $9.99 on Kindle if you want to read it. But I went through the part of the training that made sense on my journey. And now on my way to building my millions, hopefully much faster. It should be that way because he spent a lot of years studying that. But the point is, folks, when you plan something for a few months, for a year, you might not achieve it. But if you keep a long-term goal in mind, that trajectory, that North Star, and when making decisions, you filter out those decisions, those choices through the lens of that long-term view, long-term goal, you'd be freaking amazed where you're going to end up, how much closer to that star you're going to end up in 10, in 20, in 30 years. And again, I'm now 36. I don't actually mind if I achieve some great success when I'm 56 and I still have 20, 30, 40, 50, who knows how many years with the technology that we have had. I don't actually mind struggling a little bit more now instead of taking a safer path. But the point is, again, we so overestimate what we can achieve next month, next couple of months, next year, and so underestimate what we can achieve in a decade with consistent effort towards a single outcome. That being said, folks, today is Monday, and I love on Mondays to bring something that is useful for you to move closer toward any goal that you have. And today I'm bringing to you, we're talking about specific goal setting process that I got from reading manifestation books and listening to people who work in the intersection of neuroscience and kind of quantum physics and how reality works, and we still don't know a lot about that. So Joe Dispenza, who comes to mind. Then we have business moguls who literally mentored and coach people founders of Google, for example. I'm talking about John Doerr. He wrote a book, Measure What Matters, Speed and Scale. That's how Google was able to grow where they are. They used his systems. So that's another source that I got my information for today's podcast from. And then there is neuroscience. I interviewed, for example, Emily Balcetis. She is a neuroscientist in New York, and she studies focus, goal setting, motivation, all with the purpose to help people get better desired outcomes in their life, business, whatever that pursuit is. She interviewed Olympic athletes and people who achieved a lot in business arena, artists and creatives. And so she studied how focus motivation works and why certain people manage to achieve great results. And, Olympic athletes, they work on a time frame that for a lot of people, very hard to wrap their heads around. If you're an Olympic athlete and you decided to go to Olympics when you are, let's say, 10, you're going to be working for that maybe your whole life for just one goal. Just think about that. You never think how people actually get to the Olympics. Olympics are usually the sport that people compete in are once in 4 years. So you don't get a feedback whether you win or lose every 4 years. Can you just think about that? And she studied some of those athletes, Emily Balcetis, and learned how they set goals and what they focus on to keep that motivation, to keep the hard work, and not be discouraged by failures or lack of progress. Sometimes it feels like. So anyhow, I gathered all of these resources and created a very simple system that I shared on this, what I call founder walk that we do every Friday, organized by a local entrepreneur, ecosystem builder, Will Green. So every Friday morning, we climb a mountain. It's 569 meters above sea level, and it takes about an hour. So we climbed that mountain. And this past Friday, it was Will's birthday. And every birthday, now it's my tradition, I ask birthday people to, I give them actually an assignment to think about the goals, the aspirations, the visions that they want to achieve in the next year of their life. And I give them that system that I'm about to give you now to get better at achieving those outcomes instead of kind of hoping to land there. And this year is the first year when I'm going to be using exact same process. I finally just focusing on things in your own way just doesn't seem to work. What if we take the science? What if we take the best business practices? What if we take the best of manifestation and we combine all of them and apply into your own life? What can you achieve in a year? So this is my personal experiment, but the data that I base this experiment on has been proven by, again, companies like Google, people like Olympic athletes, and the best neuroscientists we have who study focus, motivation, and goal achieving. So the system, what's the system? What did I advise? What did I give to Will Green? I actually created a document that I can share with you. If you'd like, reach out, Angela at brainbreakthroughcoach.com, Angela at brainbreakthroughcoach.com. That's my email. Reach out, and I'm going to give you the same one-pager toolkit that you use to set the goals the right way. And it's the whole process. And I'm going to walk you through it now. But if you're a visual person and you'd like to have a worksheet, then reach out, Angela at brainbreakthroughcoach.com. It's absolutely free. I'm going to send it to you. So the process and what I'm going to be using for the next year of my life, it's actually on August 23rd. So in a couple of days, it's going to be a month since my last birthday. So I have 11 months and I intend to make them count and achieve all the outcomes that I set for myself. So step number one is this goal, I prefer to say, goal achieving process, because this is step number one in the process that will lead you towards achieving your goals. So you don't just get to achieve your goals in 10, 20 years, but you actually start achieving a lot more this year. Number one, for 30 minutes, set the timer for 30 minutes, sit down and write in free form. Usually I recommend putting on music because it helps you to get into flow and let thoughts, let emotion, visions flow out of you. So put some music that is not interrupting your writing, your thinking process. And in a free form, either typing, I recommend writing because research also has shown that when we write, there is a much better connection between your creativity, between what's in your head and what's going to end up on your paper. So writing freehand works better than just typing. But you can also type if that's, the only thing that you see yourself that you can do. So for 30 minutes, write about this year, this upcoming year. If this year were to become your ultimate success, what it would look like. Specifically focus on the areas that are important to you. For me, business, career, leadership is the thing that, one of the most important things. That's my major focus. That's like my key area that I want to improve. So I wrote about this area because that is what's important. Where do I see myself being in a year from now? Where exactly? How many people do I want to help? What kind of people I want to work with? What kind of job, so to speak, or projects I want to work on? What kind of results I want to give people? What I want to have by the end of the year? Like, for example, I want to have my membership site. I want to have an app that's going to walk people through certain aspects of the training that I'm designing. So write about this area in as many details as possible, and write also about all the other areas that are important that you're going to feel like you want to move them this year to a specific point. Write in free form. If your life were to be everything it could be in a year from now, what is going to look like at the end of this year? Write about it in free form, like envision it, really feel it, taste it, smell it, make it very visual. So for 30 minutes, write about that. That is step number one. Step number two, now you can read that, or if it's very clear in your memory, you don't have to read it, but save this also to get back to that from time to time. So now step number two is distill 2 to 3 objectives that you're going to focus on for the next year. I personally prefer have like one big objective for the year and then break it down into quarterly objectives. So you can do it that way. You can actually, what's also recommended, just have that vision in your head And then distill 2 to 3 objectives. You can also do that for the next quarter, for the next 90 days, or maybe even for the next months. Now, like people like John Doerr, again, who worked with Google, they worked with different timeframes depending on what makes sense, what works best for you or for your company. So I decided, so for me, the most important to focus on in the next quarter, and 2 to 3 objectives from that free writing exercise. What are 2 to 3 meaningful priorities that got to be audacious, inspirational, but still in the realm of possibilities? What are 2 to 3 meaningful priorities, areas that you're going to focus on? 2 to 3, folks, even 1 to 3. If you want to just focus on one, that's totally fine. But if you have meaningful priorities, if there are too many of them, they're not your priorities. They're just kind of like wish list. We cannot do a lot of big things over the course of even, 3 months or years. So complex things, they take time. They take a lot of work, usually a lot more than we think. And there is also going to be, delays, etc. So a lot of things that you have to deal in your life besides that. So 2 to 3 meaningful priorities. And we call them objectives. That comes from OKRs that, again, are created by John Doerr. He is the mentor of Google founders and a lot of other companies, and he's the author of books, Measure What Matters and Speed and Scale. His latest book, more on how do we actually save the planet? How do we actually make the plan and follow through with the plan? So also audacious goal. So OKRs, so objectives, that is the part from his method. So 2 to 3 meaningful priorities, again, got to be inspirational, got to be audacious, got to be something that's going to keep you going even when you're going through hard stuff. So this is step number 2 from that free writing exercise. And why do we start with this free writing exercise first? Because that helps you. That's actually a method that is related to divergent creativity. When you basically don't set boundaries on your creativity, on the solutions, on the usefulness of the ideas, you just allow it to flow from you. And that allows you to take deeper insights from your own head. That allows you to get out ideas that you don't usually think on the surface, like what's, bothers you right now, what's on the top of your mind. When you do this free writing exercise for 30 minutes, that actually brings things out that are not just on the top of your mind, but also deeper inside, priorities that you might have neglected or forgot about because, life gets busy, but that you actually want to pursue because those are the things that give you life meaning. Those are the things that are going to make you happy and make you feel, almost complete, and that your life matters and that you're living a meaningful life. Those are the things that tend to be deeper inside of your head, underneath all the day-to-day worries and things you need to do. And that's why this free writing exercise first. So you do that, and then from that, you distill 2 to 3 meaningful priorities, and you also write them down. So in the next, let's say, in the next 90 days, in the next quarter, for me, it is a quarter, I want to work with 1,000 entrepreneurs or even more or even better. Don't limit, but 1,000 entrepreneurs, that is my benchmark. I want to create a membership site that has at least 100 people. And I want to have a bigger social media presence. And for me, that means to work up to 10,000 followers on Instagram and TikTok. TikTok, actually, I barely have 1,000, but they say it gets easier. We'll see with all the methods that Alex Hormozi proposes and more learnings. We'll see where we're going to get. But these are my priorities, because my ultimate goal for the year is to help 10,000 entrepreneurs. My ultimate goal is to also have a lifestyle that allows me to see my family every quarter and increase my income to at least 10K of profits per month. So yeah, those are my priorities. But I guess what that free writing exercise allowed me to see, that's what's most important for me is having this meaningful work that I do every single day that affects in a positive way people that I'm inspired by, people who, from my perspective, are the best kind of people, entrepreneurs who want to make the world better. So these are the kinds of people I enjoy working the most with. And that's my main objective. Like, I want to do more of this work. That's it. But I got to put some numbers on it. Why? Because that will allow me to think about new strategies on how to do things. Otherwise, if you don't have a number to shoot for, every single road that or every single way of doing things, every single strategy, it will look good. Because, it's also a 10x easier than 2x method by Dan Sullivan. He is a co-founder, I believe, of Strategic Coach, the company that works with successful entrepreneurs and helps them to scale, but to also have more free time that they can spend thinking about bigger vision, bigger mission, working on business, not in the business. All that to say, in that book, they also say, if you have a certain objective, you're going to start filtering out, because that's what your brain does, strategies based on that. If you have a goal of working with 10,000 people, your brain will start looking for the strategies to fit that goal. If you have a goal of 1,000 people, your brain will start looking for different kinds of strategies. And that's how the brain designed. It looks for the answer to the goal, to the problem that you set. And so that's why it's important to have some numbers, to have some more clear, more precise picture of where you're actually going to end up. It's like, for example, if you want to lose weight in the next 3 months and you have a number, let's say it's 5 kilos, you're going to deploy different strategies than someone who is getting ready for, let's say, wrestling competition, and they need to drop 10 kilos in 3 weeks, right? Or get as close to that as possible to make certain weight class and then to go and win the competition. Like, different time frames, different numbers, and because of that, you're going to employ different strategies. So again, depending on the number that you're shooting for, you're going to be choosing different strategies. Does this make sense, folks? That's why you want to have 2-3 of those objectives based on your free writing exercise. And you want to make them audacious, inspirational for motivational purposes, connected to your deeper values and identity. But then they also got to have number. Otherwise, any strategy that somebody tells you, or you read online, or you learn from some, mentor or coach or teacher or expert, if you don't have your own objectives, anything will look good and you'll just get confused and you're like, I don't know what to do. But if you have a specific goal in mind, there are very few coaches, mentors, experts, strategies that actually will help you to achieve that goal. And that brings clarity, and clarity brings motivation, and it boosts your dopamine, and that helps you to jump into action and start putting in the work that allows you to reach the goals. Does it make sense, folks? Hope you're holding, thumbs up and nodding your heads. That's why, sometimes when I talk to entrepreneurs, I'm like, so what's your goal for the next quarter? And when they don't give me an exact number, unless they're in some discovery phase, but still, even if you're in discovery phase, you need to have a number for, let's say, how many people you're going to talk to, how many companies you're going to take through the trial. Like, what's that number? Because if you have no number, you might as well sit on the couch and do nothing, because, you have no numbers, so success is already here, right? For many different reasons. And people also feel stuck and feel like they have no clarity, or the choices are overwhelming when they have no clarity about those goals. So those are very important, folks. Don't skip that. Put the number. You can adjust that number later, but for now, put it there. And then from those 2 to 3 objectives, right? So for me, for the next quarter, my 3 objectives: having 1,000 people that I work with in some capacity through coaching, workshops, classes, having 10K on my Instagram, that for me would actually mean that I figured out how to grow my audience. And the last one is having 100 people on my membership site that I'm yet to build. And these are the objectives that I'm going to work on. And then key results. For each of those objectives, you want to figure out 3 to 5 key results or those progress indicators that you're going to track. Now, in my objectives, for example, 1,000 entrepreneurs, key result, like, okay, what am I going to track? Here, I can track people I contact. So I reach out to. Companies I reach out to, so you got to create something that you can track daily, like 1,000 entrepreneurs. It's not like you're gonna start hitting your numbers from day one. What are your actual strategies to get there, and what can you track? That it's also, some of those trackers got to be in your control, totally 100%. So key results, each of those objectives, like for example, working with 1,000 entrepreneurs, you got to break down into measurable milestones and progress indicators that John Doerr, the guy who mentored Google founders, calls key results. So you got to figure out 3 to 5, whatever suits the goal, key metrics, or what he calls key results to track, to measure, in order to know whether you're getting there or going nowhere. So for me, it's the amount of people I'm going to reach out to, 100 every single day. For me, it's the amount of calls I set up every week, and it's 10. And those numbers I got from people like Alex Hermosi, like from all these different numbers that they figure out are the numbers average for the industry. Now you can do better, but at least you got to do that, right? So for example, what Alex did, he started reaching out to 100 people every single day. Is it some magic number? No, and you can do more, but you got to start somewhere. So for me, it's 100 people every single day. And then also, besides that, I have 10 companies every day that I need to reach out. 10 companies, 10 ecosystem building initiatives like venture building, etc. Right? So you have those numbers. You break down each of the objectives that you have into 3 to 5 key results, or again, whatever. There shouldn't be a lot of them, otherwise you'll just get lost. But somewhere in the realm of 3 to 5, 1 to 5 key results or key progress indicators. What are you going to track to reach that objective at the end of the quarter? So now you have 2 to 3 objectives, and each of them you break down into key results or 3 to 5 metrics that you're going to track. That can be, again, what you do, the results that you get. Okay, how many people actually get back to you, and then perhaps adjust your number of reach outs based on that. Then also you start getting contracts, like I'm talking about my case. Okay, how many people, how many reach outs did it take to get to that number, right? And then I adjust my input or what I do, like the amount of reach outs and the kind of people and companies I reach out to. I adjust based on that. But you have to have some indicators, some key results, some progress trackers that over the course of that quarter, you're going to get back to daily and weekly to see whether you are moving towards your goal or not. And if you want to learn more about OKRs and objectives and key results with a little bit more business orientation, then check out, Google Measure What Matters, John Doerr, and his last name is Doerr. So that's the guy again who mentored Google, and a lot of what I'm teaching you right now is from there. So Google his name, John Doerr, again Doerr, and Measure What Matters, and you're gonna have a website where you can find OKRs, a free video course that is very simple, that is video that you can go through, that will help you to make better sense of where these objectives and key results come from. So step number 3 is break down each of your objectives into those 3 to 5 key results, progress indicators, milestones. They're going to show you whether you're moving forward and closer towards your goal or not, and you need to adjust. And that serves the purpose of keeping you on track and making sure that you have effective methods to achieve the outcome that you have. And the last piece, and it's kind of like a side note, last but not least, you got to get back to those key results and objectives, specifically key results that you're tracking every single day, every single morning, even sometimes twice a day, sometimes even 3 times a day, like in the middle of the day, refocus. Am I getting where I need to go or not? Right? So every day you got to get back to them, because that's the mistake a lot of us do. And I did so many times. We write down the goals and we never get back to them. We never actually track things. We don't check in with those goals, with those objectives, with those key results every single day. And that's why we kind of float. We do this or it does something. We do that and it does something. And because we do things, it creates a feeling of momentum. But are we really moving where we wanted to go in the first place? And yes, sometimes the place where you wanted to go might change as well, but at least you'll know sooner and you can rearrange your action steps and then start moving closer towards your new objective, if that's, something that makes sense in your life. So folks, now you have a system that has been proven by the best in the industry, in business, in athletics, by neuroscientists. Now, just use it and see how much closer you can get to where you want to go in a year. Even not in a year, take the next quarter, take autumn, and write about what's meaningful, where you want to go in key areas of your life. Create those 2-3 objectives, create those 3 to 5 key results for each objective, and track them every single day. Where is your progress? Are you getting closer? Are you getting further away? Do you need to adjust your strategies? Do you need to adjust your tactics? Every single day for the next quarter, for next autumn, just do that and see how much closer you can get. Just take it as an experiment. And once you understand that it actually works really powerfully, you can then set your yearly goals and even 10 years goals, and you'll be surprised how freaking close you can get to the most audacious, inspiring, unbelievable goal when you use your own brain in the way it was designed to. You set the goal to filter out the reality, and your brain will be one seeking and filtering machine that's going to move you closer and closer towards your goal. Even when you sleep and don't think about it, your brain will still be working on the same objective. It's just, your brain is amazing, folks. So use it the way it was designed to be used. If you want to have this worksheet with all the links to what John Doerr, the coach of the mentor of Google founders, taught them to do, this whole method, and again, all the links and resources, it's actually just one pager. If you want to have this, please email me, Angela@brainbreakthroughcoach.com, and you're going to get it absolutely free. So email me, get it if you're 100% committed to changing things in your life and this time really getting where you want to go. That being said, have an awesome Monday. I had fun doing this podcast, creating this podcast, sharing with you this information, and embarking on my own journey, sharing with you all these details. So thank you for listening. Thank you for your attention. If you want this workshop, Angela@brainbreakthroughcoach.com. That's how you get in touch. And till next time, have an awesome Monday. Have an awesome, audacious week. And I'll talk to you very soon.